Well, I hope Santa brought you some tissues because it's the Christmas special at Call the Midwife, and there is not a dry eye in the orphanage. All that and more in just a minute.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We're happy to be back. I'm John Comerford in the studio, joined by
Tamara Berg. I've missed you all so much.
Yes, we have. Okay, so Tamara, it's the Christmas special. They roll out everything at Call the Midwife. All the compassion, all the caring, all the Christmas tropes and everything. What do you think of this overall?
Snow and lights, and they gave us all the Christmas
We got the angels.
feels.
Yes,
It made me so happy. We had snow, we had lights, we had a pageant, we had kids dressed up all cute. There were Christmas carols and a gospel choir. Thank you very much.
We even had a donkey.
We did have a donkey.
All right, so there is way too much to cover, and
Yeah.
it's just the two of us, so we got to get rolling with this. So
We do. Theme of the show, voyages.
Right, that's right. They start off
yeah.
talking about we don't have a map for this, we don't have directions, but. I love the way they close it because let's just talk about the way they close it.
Sure.
There's always a star. There's always a
star to
light to
follow.
light. There's always it's a wonderful theme, especially Christmas times theme. So that was great. I thought they did play that really well too. So
Beautifully.
but let's get. So the big news is the Mother House calls. There may be changes at the top here because the current Mother Superior is not doing well.
Mother Jesu Emmanuel has a
exactly.
brain tumor and is not doing well and hasn't been doing well for a while.
Right,
Her
which
office
we
was a
learned later.
mess.
And so they get the call. Everybody has to go back because they vote. Who knew? They vote on the Mother Superior.
Right.
It doesn't get selected, in a different method. This is the method that they choose. So you got to go back to the Mother House and they all going to vote. So Sister Julienne gets the call. She tells Winifred and Monica Joan. Yeah, that we've been called back. Yeah.
I'm afraid I'm not feeling well.
Oh, that's a very good impression.
Thank you.
Monica Joan feigns pain just to get out of this. When it first started happening, I didn't really get that she was kidding again. I felt really bad.
Oh, yeah.
And then I go, oh, that's right. She just doesn't want to leave.
No. You can't go. You'll have to go without her. Monica Joan says, oh.
Yeah.
That just cracked me up.
It did. It was great. And then I realized, oh, okay, it's a joke. And then I felt sad because it's like, oh,
The reasons why.
And I'm just going, oh, man. And I'm already into it. And it's already starting for me. They're already grabbing at the, I was just.
Right, because she doesn't want to go because
go.
I began there and I will likely
when
end
she starts talking about how that's how she started and now this is the place where she's going to go to die. And I'm just going, oh, my God, I don't. Anyway, okay. So she finds her way out of it. So she's not going to go. But Winifred and Julienne go to the orphanage, where they're going to vote.
The Mother House, which is also.
And coincidentally, they also have the refugees coming in from China. So we have these 4 little cute little Chinese girls, babies almost, and May's amongst them, and the Sister Mildred is bringing them.
Introduced by Sister Mildred. So Sister Mildred is played by Miriam Margolyes, who I
Very
have
well
spoken
known.
with on the phone.
Is
She's
that-
actually
yes,
a friend of a friend,
that's
and I
right,
think
yeah.
I've mentioned it
Oh,
before
sorry.
on the show.
Excuse me, you dropped this. Here,
I know.
Get that name up for you.
Just want to remind people, there was a little Easter egg in there. So Sister Mildred comes in with the Hong Kong orphans, and she, at some point, she says, "I'm a nun, not a conjurer." And I said, "Hold on, Harry Potter reference there, I'm thinking."
No,
because she played Professor Sprout at Hogwarts.
So you think they did that just as
I
a little
do think
okay.
so.
All right, why not? Sure, okay.
She's a hoot,
Yeah,
that
she
Miriam.
is. She is quite
She
a hoot.
is a hoot. She's
been in
great.
a ton of things. She's always fabulous. And
Yeah.
she was great in this as well.
Oh, she's
I
so
just
good
love
in
the way
this.
she just goes on. They just have her talking about, when they have to go on the ride on the trolley or not on the trolley, but in the truck to take the kids to the
van,
orphanage, and they're worried about car sickness. Thank you.
That's what I had on the way over here.
Exactly. And she says she's just going to hang out the window so in case she does get sick, she's not going to bother anybody.
Not bother anyone.
Yeah,
A little
very
fresh air.
practical, pragmatic sister that she is. Oh, so anyway, so let's get ourselves to this orphanage. We've never been there. We don't know anything. I didn't know anything about this. I mean, had they talked about it in other episodes? I didn't know about this place.
I mean, they talk about the Mother House. They've talked about the
Sure
Mother
about
Superior,
that.
but
I just
we've
never known it was an orphanage.
I didn't know
I didn't know
either.
that.
at some point somebody referenced changing it into flats, a developer coming in and changing it into
is that
flats.
right?
And I was like, yeah, I would like to be that developer.
Right.
I mean,
Right there in the ocean.
Right, the property they
Yeah.
were on, that one,
Yeah.
at some point Winifred's singing a song to one of the orphans, and
Right.
there's the ocean right
Yeah.
out the window.
Ocean view.
Yeah,
The
I
Nonnatus
would-
House orphanage.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
So we see the orphanage. We get there. We realize, okay, this is we all kinds of kids. And when do we meet Neil? Is that right away? Because
Yes.
doesn't Winifred take a
Yes.
liking to him right
Yeah.
away? She's
Yeah,
standing to
we
him.
do meet him right away.
Yeah, we learned that he's a young boy who lack of oxygen caused some brain damage. So her heart just goes right out to him, and we see that develop over the time. But really, what's surprising to me is how reticent that Sister Julienne is to be there. The whole thing, you don't know why at first, because why is she worried and concerned about this? But she does not really want. She doesn't like any of this. The
Right.
fact that the Mother Superior is not doing well, the office is just a mess. And then when she has that the tete-a-tete with the Mother Superior and I thought that was just because again, I love seeing Sister Julienne. She's usually the one in charge. Here she was. They're talking about her early days when they came in together and stuff, and how the lotion,
taking the vows, the Nivea specifically,
yes, the Nivea
hand
and the
cream.
smell of it, and how they wanted their hands to be as soft as they would be, because from that point on they wouldn't be anywhere near as soft. Because what is it? So I guess when you take the vows, you can't have any of those luxuries. Is that the idea?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So-
It's about not having luxuries anymore. And the other thing that Mother Superior talked about was being in other people's
Yeah,
homes,
being
and
able to
how
smell.
that was such a big part of their lives, and sort of telling Sister Julienne, and it's not going to be in yours anymore.
Right, because that's what I missed when I took on the vows to be Mother Superior, but took on the mantle, I should say. She didn't get to go into people's homes anymore. Didn't get to have those just the smell, the memory,
the experience
Yes,
of
it's like, oh my God! How
Instead,
much,
you're going to be in this little room with this mess. Because why? Because I want you to take my place.
I
She
want
says it very
my
specifically.
work to be your work.
Yes.
And then I thought that was a fabulous scene. We see just after that, we see Sister Julienne outside on the beach and throwing a rock. And it was just a silly little thing.
Like anger
Oh,
or
yeah.
consternation,
Exactly.
at least.
And
Maybe not anger.
I mean, for just that tiny little act, so much was spoken in that.
That was something we hadn't seen before.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
huge for Sister Julienne
Yeah.
to do that. So I go, wow, she is not. And then, of course, the next thing she does is she calls Sheila.
Because what do you do when you're in crisis?
Yeah, and she
Call
goes,
Sheila.
Yeah, exactly. And I can't do this. I need someone to help me organize this. I can't.
I
do this.
need you,
And
yeah.
I clearly, I don't think it has. I think that was part of it, but she just really needed Sheila there because only she would understand what she's going through.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Sheila's such a brilliant character.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
She spans the two worlds.
exactly. We've been through it all with her,
Right.
and just she understands.
Yeah.
Instantly everything.
Right.
So the next moment that they have while they're sitting on the beach,
Well, before they get it, because I thought it was interesting that when she comes, she brings pies.
cakes,
Whatever it is.
no,
Yeah,
there
she
were
brings
pies, mince pies, you were right.
Yeah, okay. And then before we get to the other part, I wanted to talk about the luncheon that they first have, and Sheila's there.
Okay.
Because Mildred is there, Sister Mildred, and all the nuns are there, and they're all having...
And Sheila.
So that whole huge long table, and they're talking about the situation concerning May's mother and the backstory about how May came into to be there at the orphanage and what the mother had to go through and all that stuff. And it's just a tragic story. And you poor little May, always left waiting at the door, and then you actually cut to her, and you see her. She's not with the other kids. She's still waiting at the door for someone to come and get her. And that never happened. And, all this great discussion and stuff like that. And then one lone sister at the end, hey, lunch is supposed to be a quiet meal. But I thought it was perfect because then you got to see Mildred and you understand
asserting herself.
Yeah,
and
so you get to see her, and because that's going to come into play later. Because the next time we see a luncheon, this is after Winifred has taken a liking and taking Neil and helping him with his cushions and tending to him and caring for him and
giving
seeing
him
improvement.
attention, even if nothing else.
Absolutely, and she gets so caught up in that she doesn't want to go back
Right.
to Poplar when all the vote is done and all this. She feels like her calling is there, and then there's a little bit of an argument about that. And then again, you get to see Mildred say the quarrel. That's not something we should object to. It's something we should embrace. It's something that defines us. Sometimes it takes us to our knees, but it's through the quarrel and the embracement of the quarrel that we find our purpose. And it also leads to answers. Exactly. Yeah. And that's when you see really Mildred step into this thing, and you could. That's the thing that swings the vote, really. Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It does. Of course
the whole time I'm thinking, because, how many times have we seen characters go away? I mean, the whole thing, last year, Barbara, and the whole,
we see one go away this episode.
Exactly. And so I'm going, my God, Sister Julienne's going to leave. And all the time, the whole time, I'm going, oh man, because they did a really good job of building that, and she just did not want to go, and I was just getting ripped apart. I didn't want her to leave.
No,
and I thought even when Mildred had this thing, and even though I knew that Mildred might be that person, I was thinking that they were going to pull her away, and have Nonnatus House be a whole new thing.
Only because Mary Margolyes is quite a relatively famous actor was the only reason which actually you taught me a long time ago. It's like, oh no, is that a person with gravitas and a big resume? They're not going to give him a crappy part. They're going to do something later.
Yeah, they may not stay. Yeah, they're just coming in for the cameo.
Yeah,
so, yeah. But I was just. I thought they did it really well, the vote and the whole thing, and the way they built the music and everything. I thought, oh, God. But it was great when Mildred stepped forward and said she'll hope to honor the position that they've elevated her to and stuff like that. And then she immediately says, Winifred, you're staying.
And here, yes, I am the leader of this group, and I'm going to tell you what's happening. Yeah. Julienne, you're going back because I know you want to, and Winifred, you're staying because I know you want to.
And I went,
yeah, exactly. So just prior to the vote coming out, and before she got to lay down her edict, Mildred. Yeah. Dread. There was the moment on the beach between Shelagh and Sister Julienne. Okay. Yeah. So, Shelagh says, what do you want? And it's not at that moment, but what do you want? I'm a religious sister. I'm not allowed to want anything. And then the vote's happening. So we're sitting there. And then Shelagh says, essentially
if you could have anything.
If you could have anything right now, even though you're not allowed to want anything.
What would it be? A cigarette. I did not see that coming.
I want a ciggy. No, totally did not see that coming.
And I love the way they came up with the answer for that. Is just that was the last thing I did or wanted before I took my vows. And then again, because we get to see those two and the history they have together, and she says that was the first thing I did when I renounced
and
mine.
I think I remember. Wasn't she standing on the side of the road?
It was something like that. Yeah, I don't recall.
Pulled out a ciggy.
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's what it was. Something like that.
Went, wow, that's amazing that they called that back.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and just. Again, you get to see the relationship between the two, and it's all in that moment. I mean, it's just.
And let's point out, Sister Julienne, thank you, secret agent, did not actually get her cigarette.
Yeah, no, she was just about to light up, and then the bell.
Oh, saved by the bell.
Exactly. But I also thought the little foreshadowing of that moment was the picture they showed when you got to see Sister Evangeline and Sister Sheila and Monica Joan and Julienne in that one shot. I thought that was what a great memory, and to bring that back and stuff, I was like, oh man. I mean, I even paused it just so I could look at them all again.
Yeah,
so,
and Evangeline.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, talking about the call.
Yeah,
the call.
About the call.
Yeah.
So. I would love to keep going on that, but we have to get to other storylines because we already talked a little bit about Sheila, because the Turners, I love the way they open this up. The Turners, Sheila's getting her temp replacement, situated so that because she's going to be gone for a little bit.
Yep.
And then as soon as she walks outside, there's a station wagon, and there's all this talk about, hey, yeah, exactly. And she's, what is it? It's so big, we don't need it. And then she's the one that actually says there's no more room for anyone living in it, because there's ask for a dog, she wants a bunny, and she just doesn't know. We've got too much going on. We don't have any more. No room at the Turner Inn. Let's put it that way.
Exactly.
So, boy, did that change.
Well, maybe.
Exactly, but because she keeps an eye on May, and she sees, and there's a lot of consternation about how May will not do well in a home with a capital H.
Right.
She needs to be somewhere else.
Right.
And whereas other kids thrive at this orphanage and stuff like that, this is not a place for. And so there's the big worry about that. And, I just love the little moments they had with May, especially, God, when I saw the poor thing when she was just sitting on the chair and all the other kids are out watching the TV and she's just looking at the door.
Sad.
Oh, my God. And then even that moment when she has the cookie And she
Oh,
holds the
right,
biscuit
invites-
out for
Yeah.
yeah. She brings her.
The little girls, so Angela and May,
Yeah.
out on the bluff, essentially over the
exactly.
ocean,
And-
twirling and then hugging.
in their dresses.
Stop it!
Yeah, exactly.
I literally screamed at the television. Stop
Yeah.
with the cuteness.
Yeah, I know. Well, and they did it off of the fact that nobody came for May. There were other parents that came for the other kids, the other refugee and stuff like that, and she was
Now,
left alone.
and there was a little bit of a snafu. It wasn't that they didn't want her.
No,
It's
no,
that
it's
the
just that he's
dad
got
has
TB,
TB, and
mom
there's a
can't-
12-month quarantine,
all
and
this
the mom
other
can't
stuff,
handle it
and
by
then what do we do in the
herself. So,
meantime?
but no such snafu for that poor young girl who's
Yeah.
8 or 9 years old, who's there looking
Denise.
presentable for the choosing day.
Yeah, choosing day. I was just going, oh my God, there's choosing day. They're just killing me. Oh, my
Terrible.
God. Yeah, it was terrible.
Terrible, Denise. Yeah.
But yeah, I think the fact that they ended up deciding that there was room at their house, for another living being, and so they brought May home. They're gonna foster May. So that's a Christmas miracle.
It is. Well, it is. Let's just say that.
It was the cute girls there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And then we get to
So-
talk about them again in a little bit. When
Yeah,
we, go to the
we
next
kind of
episode.
already talked about Winifred and Neil. I thought that was great that
Yeah.
you could see that progression in that storyline very quickly. And then you know that, even though she's going to stay there, she's going to have her hands full taking care of all these kids and helping with them. And you could see her, she really lit up saying that this is her calling.
Right.
So she's got a new...
And made the argument again, you
Right.
know, about how, I don't want to go back. I want to stay here.
Yeah.
And then, contributing to that.
Right.
And watching Neil really improve from being,
Yeah.
just somebody who cowered all the time to, thriving.
And they started bringing him to participate.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Amazing.
But we have to talk about Lena now, because Lena is
Oh,
speaking of
my
kids that may have
God.
thrived or not thrived at the orphanage. We see this woman, first time
Mystery
we see
pregnant woman.
Yeah, she's pregnant. She drives up. It looks like she's going to get out, but she's obviously upset or concerned about something, because she immediately drives off and almost hits the truck carrying the other kids, the refugee kids. And then we see her again and she runs away. We see her again and she runs away.
Yep.
But Winifred stops her. And it turns out she's actually from the orphanage. I did not see that one coming either.
No. And the other thing, with furrowed brow, were
Yeah.
you here as a child? Was it terrible? No, it was the last time in my life I was happy and haven't been since.
And how bad was your life if your happiest time was at an orphanage?
Right.
I mean, my God.
Right.
Yeah. So, of course, we learn that she was sent away to Australia. Is it the children's what was
Work
it?
farm or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I wrote down that.
It's not a term we are familiar
It's
with
a
in the U.S., so
the scheme.
we don't exactly remember it. But yeah, so she was sent away, and her brother, she had a brother
Yeah.
who was born in Poplar, and he was not brought with her because he had a club foot and had to use a cane or a crutch.
Right.
So he got sent away, and she was taken to a farm and treated brutally. Was the wording that they
the
used.
children's farm school scheme is what they call it.
Ah,
So that's
okay.
what yeah, treated brutally. And then she ended up marrying somebody older who eventually died, and then she found her way back. And the thought of it was that because the big deal was that she had no family.
Right.
She had no family.
No flesh and blood.
No flesh and blood, and that was the thing. And she just and the fact that she remembers Sister Julienne, and that Sister Julienne was holding the hand of her brother as she was
Yes.
being driven away in the bus, and she remembers that image and stuff like that. And of course, Sister Julienne, I couldn't tell. It didn't look like she remembered it specifically.
Well,
Because they took care of so many kids that,
Of course.
yeah. And then there's no records, and
the thing about her crying. So don't cry.
Right.
If I don't stop, the bus won't go.
right. Mm-hmm.
And then so then what ends up happening? She has a baby.
Yeah.
She's very excited. Once he's here, I'll have flesh and blood again. She has a boy, and she names him
Yeah.
Billy. Of course she does. Because it would be terrible if she didn't. Sheila calls to Poplar to the registry to
And
Mrs.
to-
What's her name?
Gets her temp to help her.
Yeah, to
Track
see,
down some records.
because the thing is that somebody who has a deformed foot
Yeah.
is something that you can look up. And
Yeah, there might be some sort of way to find him.
Right,
track him down.
exactly.
So that happens.
Behold.
Yeah, and of course, yeah. Go ahead.
What do you want me to say?
Yeah, well, they bring him back, so they track him down. She's tending to her newborn, and then Julienne, again the symmetry of it all.
I've brought someone here for a visit.
Exactly, and there
he walks in the door. She knows who he is right away, and he says, she's got, thankfully, someone's going to take the baby.
Sister Julienne takes the baby very nicely, deftly handled.
Seriously, that baby was going down.
And she says, I'm sorry, I couldn't
look after you.
Yeah.
And he says, basically he's had a really nice life.
Yeah.
I've had a nice life. I'm married and we don't have any kids. And we're all putting it together in our heads going, well, now there's a new kid in your life because this one is gonna, and she's crying and crying and crying. And he says, don't cry. And she goes, if I don't stop, the bus won't go. My notes just say, wah! Because that is pretty much what I was like, that was the big cry. That was the big cry moment for me.
God. I think it got me when she just said she didn't care what gender the baby was. She just, once he was here, she would have flesh and blood again. I think that one got me more than the other one. So, but that didn't help. So, yeah. And then, of course, he's invited them back to live with her. Invited his sister and his nephew to
live with him and his wife. Yeah.
So that was...
Whatever, it was fine.
Yeah, exactly. So
Whatever.
If that wasn't enough, we need to have another birth because you can't just have one. You need to have at least two on a Call The Midwife. So we got Trixie
and Mavis.
Mavis, right? Exactly. And I thought this was interesting because this is the turn we start to see that because Mavis has said, oh, I don't really need a midwife. I have a friend of mine who had a baby in hospital and they treat her like a queen. So I think I'm going to have it at a hospital.
Right.
And then we learned that more and more doctors are, basically scaring women and all the things that could go wrong if you don't have it in a hospital. So more and more women were choosing hospitals. So this may be the beginning of what changes for midwives.
So just to back up just a little bit, Trixie is back from Italy.
Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that.
Okay, so
Yeah,
we've brought her back from Italy. She's going through her closet and showing off all of her new Italian fashions.
That's why I forgot it, because it's fashion.
Because it's fashion, and Courtney's not here to help me remember it.
Yeah.
So she has her fashion moment. A fuchsia pink duster coat in shantung silk. Thank you very much. That's what this is. And she discovers in her closet that while she was away, all of her cashmere got eaten by moths. Including her wool sweater, her cardigan from her uniform. And Phyllis gives her Barbara's sweater.
Yeah, that was just such a touching scene between the two of them.
Right. And Phyllis talking about the fact that you're back and you're well.
Right. Yes, well. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So...
It's not code for anything. It's just we just don't talk about things.
Exactly.
As I pour myself a little drink.
Exactly. But thank you for remembering to talk about that because I skipped over the whole fashion part.
Yeah.
But that obviously the sweater comes into play later, and it's such a good remembrance too because all kinds of things were going on and I'd forgotten about Barbara until that moment.
Right.
And it's like, exactly. So,
okay, so we find out Mavis gets put, on the list to go. No, wait. She chooses a hospital delivery, and then she has pain early.
Well, yeah, and they can't take her.
Right.
There's no room at that inn.
No room at that inn. Exactly, keeping with the theme.
Exactly.
So they send her across the borough. Exactly. You can wait for an ambulance, which is going to take at least an hour, or you can walk.
Right. And they decide to walk.
I think I'll walk.
Yeah. So they don't get very far. This doesn't seem to get very far, but they get far enough away from the hospital where they have to go to a phone booth and they can't even make it. I love that the husband says, "Come on, it's right there. We'll just make it to there, and I'll make it." Just go to leave your wife there. Go to the phone and
you walk to the phone,
exactly.
Mister. You're not the one with the baby.
Exactly. He's not very. I think he was overwhelmed. He was flummoxed by the.
Ready.
Yes.
He's flummoxed indeed.
Yeah, the excitement of the moment kind of clouded his judgment because then he gets to the phone, it's not working. She tells him to go to Nonnatus House, And he says, I'm a woman. I don't know where that is.
I'm not a woman. I don't know where that is. What's going on? And
I'm
then
not a
when
woman, thank you.
it's okay. Then when he gets to Nonnatus House,
But she screams at him. I have no idea. Does anybody know what she said?
we watched it 3 times.
Yeah, I still can't figure out what she said.
Whatever it was hilarious.
Yeah,
though, when she's screaming at him to
He says,
go.
I'm not a woman. I don't know where Nonnatus House is. And she screams something at him, and then somehow he figures it out. But he gets to right in the middle of the fashion show because Trixie's showing off the black dress that was supposedly very plain.
Yes, and she's going to look like a photographic negative in
exactly. And then knock, knock, knock. Oh my God! Rush, rush, rush! And then she can't get the dress off. She just grabs the sweater. Happens to be Barbie's sweater, and boom, we're off to the races because they have to go find her.
Right.
Because he's not even sure where the phone is.
We need coordinates, they say. He's got no idea.
Oh my God, he can't get her to the phone. He doesn't know where Nonnatus House is. He doesn't know where the phone is. Like, what? I mean, it's surprising that he got her pregnant. That's what I'm saying, okay? Because he really is inept to everywhere.
Well, he figured that part
Yeah,
out.
that part he could figure out.
He did.
Okay.
So we end up having what I think is our first actual street birth.
I think you're right. I don't remember one on the sidewalk. I don't remember one.
No.
In the one kneel position. That's another new one for me. I don't remember.
Gravel in the knee and
yes,
all.
There you go. But thankfully, everything goes well.
Baby gets wrapped in Barbara's sweater.
Yeah, well, no, the hot water bottle I think gets wrapped. Anyway, whatever. The baby ends up. The sweater ends up helping with the birth.
Yes.
So that's the key point. And then while poor Mavis is in the hospital, she's obviously worried about the family.
And all along she's been concerned about like what's going to happen with Christmas. We don't have a tree. No one's coming over. What's happening?
Exactly. So all this is going on, and she can't even concentrate on the fact that or just focus on the fact that she's had complications because she's so worried about the family, women. So.
Yeah.
So
she decides the baby's name is going to be something Christmassy, right?
Yeah,
she goes through Noel.
Yeah, is that right?
I can't remember the other ones.
Settled on Nicholas.
Carol.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. So so while all that's happening, and she's recuperating and stuff like that, Dr. Turner gives her the tree.
Yes.
And then I thought the midwives.
The midwives
the 3 of
showing
them,
up.
Yeah, the 3 wise midwives, if you ask me. They come bearing gifts.
Yes, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it. That's
That's
adorable.
right. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about the fact that part of the reason why she wanted to go, I get it now. Part of the reason why she wanted to go to the hospital was because she was going to be treated like a queen. They serve you on a tray in your bed. I focused more on the tray. I didn't get the more symbolic meaning of it.
So, but she indeed.
Thank God you're here.
She is indeed treated like a queen by the 3 Mary
wise women.
Yeah. So that was
great. God, I'm gonna write that down. Wise women.
Great. So we had that nice
That's
little
beautiful.
moment. Yeah, that was great. It was really touching, and
yeah,
she's overwhelmed and stuff like that, and
she got to have a little drinky.
Yeah, little drinky. All right, we only have a few minutes left. We got to cover
what
Fred
else?
and Vi. Well, because here's the thing, it's the space race. We're in the middle of the space race. We're in the 60s, so Fred decides he's got to soup up Santa's sleigh with a rocket ship.
Sure.
And space elves, and that's his version.
Space elves
of the space race, the Santa space race. So that's where we meet him and stuff like that. I think that part was hysterical.
He wants an animal for the pageant, ends up with a donkey.
A donkey, but because he limited to the friend took it to heart and was able to get him at least donkey and stuff like that. And then they had to keep that from Vi, and she was because Fred was making all these attempts to do something for the kids and had the
flea-infested hobby horse
toys and all that other stuff. But then they have the donkey, which they keep under wraps, so to speak, and feed them secretly.
Vi's Brussels sprouts.
Exactly.
Yes.
Poor Vi beside herself. Yeah. It was a fun little run gag.
Yeah.
And
and Vi makes the costume. Let's just again revisit the fashion. The costumes for the pageant, which Vi furiously sewed, and then also Barbara was wearing an angel tutu that Lucille wanted to put an extra flounce on because
and for good reason.
Absolutely,
it's a good thing a grand jeté didn't happen on stage because that would have been a grand mistake.
Exactly.
So, but I have to say one thing because we were talking about Vi.
Seem to have got.
Thanks. So I have to talk about Fred and Vi because, well, Reggie actually, the little quiet moment there when she's telling them to eat up and stuff at the breakfast table.
He don't
She
want
turns
it.
her back and he swaps the
Swaps
plates.
plates.
I was like, what's all of a sudden Reggie's doing some, a little shtick there from vaudeville or something like that.
Gotta love
Nicely
it.
done.
Gotta love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Okay, a couple of other things that we need to make sure we mention is, okay, the ballet with baby ballet is what they called it. Just that moment was so cute with Angela
Oh, sure. and
on
they had
stage,
and they had
waving
right in the camera.
to the Turners. Just very festive, very sweet, very Christmassy moment.
Yeah,
to,
well, I
to
thought,
tie
and they
in with that.
repeated it because they had the camera, later on. Was that this one, or am I thinking ahead?
Good question.
Yeah.
No, they did. Yeah,
Okay.
they did with May. Also, the run to the door to meet Trixie of the nuns.
The nuns
Don't want to
already.
miss that
The
moment.
nuns already. Yeah, that was pretty funny. We got it before we go further. We still have to talk Monica and Lucille because
Yes.
Monica Joan, because that was the other part of this. Were you going to get to that?
Yep.
Okay, well, go ahead.
They got a card in the mail from Patsy.
Right. Oh, that's right. Yes, Cardinal. So we know they're doing okay
Yeah,
with a dog print
with a
in
dog print.
Scotland.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Patsy and Delia. So I was happy about that. I like that they,
Yeah,
they
kept
remind
those stories.
us.
Yeah, and
exactly.
Tom was well received by
Tom,
the in-laws and stuff like
yes.
that. So yeah, we got to see. Yeah, they're keeping those stories.
Yeah.
going. That was great.
Absolutely. Okay, and then so finally, Lucille
Yeah.
invites Sister Monica Joan to her church because church isn't happening
Right.
while the other nuns
she's
are
all
away.
alone, and she's sweeping in the chapel, and she's all alone.
And Jesus certainly wouldn't understand about sweeping because he's a man.
But she's there to keep the light on again, keeping the story going too, and the metaphor about keeping something showing the way and the light and all that
Yeah.
other stuff. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Kept that story alive. And then at the end there, instead, okay, if you won't come to my church, I'll bring my church to you.
Surprise moment.
Oh my God, it was great.
Beautiful reveal for Monica Joan, as well as beautiful reveal for people who were on the street coming
Yeah,
back.
they
So the
all came
whole,
back.
the gang was coming back from the mother house,
Yeah.
and they hear something.
Gospels. What's going on? Because normally the only singing they would hear would be their own in that chapel, and here they have a full-on gospel choir in there. How's
Yes.
that happening?
Yeah,
So we got to see that, and that was great. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
beautiful moment. That is all I have.
Well, that's good because we unfortunately have to close up early because we've had a short time.
I want to just mention real quickly that we are, this show aired in the U.S. and in the U.K. on Christmas Day evening. But the United States doesn't get the first episode of the show until March, I think. So UK fans and the rest of the world who's seen the show already, hi. US fans, check in with us. We won't be live when this airs in the US in March, but check in with us because we do still watch Twitter and our YouTube comments if you want to hang out
And
with
we'll
us.
be live for this first episode.
Yeah, and we're about to go live for the first episode in just a couple minutes. So if you're with us now, stick with us. Bring friends and Brandy.
So was it worth it? Was it worth the wait to have this Christmas?
No, it wasn't. But it's never worth the wait. But I loved it. I loved so much about it. I'm really happy they're back.
Yeah, I'm too. And
Speaking of being
really-
back, Courtney's going to be back with us.
Yeah, she will. And I'm happy that it's back, but I'm not happy that it got to me right away. It was already brimming with tears from the beginning.
And we lost a nun.
We did. Well, but she's working somewhere else though.
Yeah. We
so,
she didn't
we're gonna get
die.
2 new ones.
Yeah, we're getting 2 new ones next
we'll be all
episode,
right.
which we're going to talk
Well,
about in
we
just a
got-
little
all right,
bit.
all right. So that's it for the Christmas recap. We appreciate you listening in and coming. Oh, and did you already send your comments? And
Yeah, to me. I'm
Okay,
on
good.
Twitter at Tamara Berg,
Thank you.
TamaraBerg.
and I'm
We
not
can find
anywhere.
Jen.
So if you need anything, just ask
to
Tamara.
me.
She'll tell you.
All right, talk to you guys later. See you
Thanks.
next time.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.